What's going on, my friends? For today's episode, we're taking a look at my very first Islander. For how well known they are within the watch community, you'd think I would have jumped on one a long time ago, but for whatever reason, I just never felt compelled to get one. I think it was a mixture of little nitpicky things. Firstly, I already had the original versions of whatever the Islander was homaging, and secondly, I really did not like the Caseback before they upgraded to the new style. That might sound ridiculous, but believe it or not, casebacks are something I take into consideration when I purchase a watch. In this case, the Manhasset looked really good, and it immediately called to me the second I saw it. So I finally ordered myself an Islander as soon as I got the notification that they were back in stock, and today I'm going to share my thoughts with you. Before we do, let's do the obligatory wrist check. Today I've got on my Hamilton Field Watch, which I feel shares some similar qualities with the Manhasset as far as the joy I get from this simple style that I think all watch enthusiasts enjoy. It's super nice, and if you're in the market for your first Swiss auto, you can't go wrong with picking this one. Back to the Manhasset, let's start off with price. You can find this directly from the Long Island Watch website for $285. I used a 5% coupon, so I paid a little under that, but at least you have a general idea of how much you're going to have to spend. I don't necessarily think this is a bad value, but I also certainly do not think it is a good one either. This is a standard watch with a standard movement, and from any other Chinese homage brand, you would probably spend $150 at the most. However, I do believe the Manhasset retains a certain level of uniqueness in its own way that helps me justify the higher price tag. Considering this watch stays out of stock for most of the year, I'm guessing the proof is there that people don't mind the price tag. These are just my opinions. As far as dimensions go, the Manhasset is fantastic. I'll have those on the screen for you. Feel free to pause so you can see how those numbers work for you. For those of you that like larger watches, do not let the 36mm diameter fool you. The watch's proportions are balanced so effectively that it neither feels too small or too tall, which is why I think a lot of people are against 36mm in the first place. It wears great on the wrist and truly is a fantastic everyday watch. And for reference, I have a 7.75 inch thick wrist. One thing of note is that I customized my Manhasset with an aftermarket SKX caseback from Namoki Mods. This one is 55% thinner and reduces the overall thickness from 12mm to 10.9. That may not seem like much, but I gotta tell you, I think it improves the overall package significantly and really classes it up a notch. I recommend this mod, and at least now you know it is compatible with SKX parts. Now going over some general info, we've got a standard stainless steel case and bracelet, a sapphire crystal, which I know you're all gonna like, applied indices with C3 Superluminova on the 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock markers, a screw down crown, and a screw down caseback. Out the box, the watch is rated for 100 meters of water resistance. However, if you opt for this caseback modification, that water resistance will go down to 50 meters. The watch is powered by a NH36, and that's going to give you around 40 hours of power reserve. Here is the Lumeshot, which I think is acceptable. I'm not a fan of the partially applied lume and much prefer its application on all of the indices. However, I'm willing to overlook that based on the intended use for this watch. The dial is close to perfection with one big disappointment. The pronounced riot is beautiful and personally what I think is the star of the show. The chrome indices are also beautifully applied and reminiscent of the spirit of the modern Rolex Explorer. Underneath all of this is where I am disappointed. Under direct light, the black dial looks flat and uninspired. With all of the good things going on with the riot and indices, a more reflective dial surface would have really tied everything together. But instead we have something that looks like they decided to call it quits right at the very end. I could just be too nitpicky right now, but that's only because I really like this watch and I truly believe in all the potential that it has. Moving on to the right side, we've got the crown, which is great. We've got the Islander logo actually engraved into the crown, which I like. The coined edge makes operating it easy despite its smaller size, and everything functions as it should. I do want to point out that the website specifically points out that they remove the day-date complication so the user won't experience any ghost clicks. However, there still remains a ghost position for the crown. This is not a big deal at all for me. I've just noticed other people calling that out on their watches and being offended by it for whatever reason. The stock caseback is an open display caseback, which most of you are going to like. Personally, I am not a fan of display casebacks on basic level, undecorated movements, and prefer the closed look instead. Whichever your preference is, it's always good to know that you have options. The bracelet is your standard oyster style bracelet, but it's executed very well. The clasp is a dual push button milled deployant clasp, and the end links are solid. So, two qualities on a bracelet that I think most watch enthusiasts look for. The adjustment system is via screw pins with 3 micro adjustable positions on the clasp, making it super easy to get the perfect fit. The icing on the cake here is the drilled lugs, so if you were ever in the market for swapping out the strap, you could do so very quickly. For the finishing, what we have here is the perfect ratio of brushed to bling. Usually I prefer a completely brushed finish, but here the mirror polished bezel is balanced out perfectly by the brushed riot, and I really like that. The sides are mirror polished, but because the case is so thin, I don't find it overwhelming at all. All in all, I think this watch is finished perfectly for everyday wear with a touch of refinement that gives you that subtle, classy feeling. Now for my overall thoughts, I'm quite happy with this purchase. I'm surprised that this watch is not as well known as their other models because I really do think it's one of their best looking ones. Everybody went crazy over TGV's Rangemaster, but personally this is the one people need to be paying attention to. My only main gripe was the flat dial, but as I said before, that was me being nitpicky for the sake of being nitpicky, and realistically it's not something readily apparent. The main thing that others might be concerned about is the price. Is $285 reasonable for a watch with a NH36 movement? That's completely up to you. At the very least, I can confidently say that you're getting a good looking watch, so take that for what it's worth. So that's all I gotta say for now. I hope I was able to show you some insight on a new watch, and I always appreciate your comments. Thanks for sticking around this far, and if you can, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.